It was only after coming to ISKCON and in touch with devotees that I actually even understood, or I actually heard the first time the word causeless mercy. I've never experienced this word before, and now we use it so often. We mention it to discuss many things, sometimes jokingly, but many times we actually do meaningfully say it. That actually, if you reflect on this Tompkins Square Park wonderful event, where was the connection when he started this with all under hardships in 1965 to what we are now talking? 50 years later, we are pouring our hearts out about this particular event, and how this is the beginning of the Hare Krishna movement in a sense. So, when causeless mercy is when something actually happens which has no understanding to us, there is no meaning, there isn't any reason, and yet we are just unlimitedly benefited. I can just share a personal experience of which in fact, though I came in contact with devotees in 1985, but I came to know this only in 1996, that Srila Prabhupada went on the Jaladut in August 1965. And a few months before that, it was actually, if you see the Jaladut diary, I came to know only in 96 when I saw the Jaladut diary, which was published in his honor in the centennial year, that on April 12th and May 3rd, there were two occasions he met my father. He has written there to see Mafatlal. And when I checked with my father later, he said, yes, he met me. And all he did, my father never helped him as far as I understand. Obviously, Prabhupada probably must have gone to ask him. He did buy the set of 3 books, the original 3 ones which he took, which I still have, which he took with him in the trunk on Jaladut. But there was no correlation. From that time, Prabhupada's unlimited mercy, causeless, that maybe a decade later, my sister Maithili Premataji, brother-in-law Srinaji Prabhu, they somehow this contact with ISKCON developed with Prabhupada, and that too initially it was a seemingly confrontational one, but it was only meant to enhance the deepening relationship. And then another decade later, thanks to them, my family also got connected. So when we look back, it is a complete sign of bewilderment as to not even having dreamt of a lifestyle like this, not having a slightest desire to go beyond our comfort zone in a material achievements. How does Srila Prabhupada, in just one life, give this, that where a very minor act of buying his books manifests in 2 families coming under his shelter. So just extrapolating that, what is happening all over the world to millions of people through his books, through his devotees, through the lectures, kirtans, through the deities, to the temples, we cannot begin to understand what is actually churning inside. And then we get a slight glimpse of what it could mean, maybe in the future, that there will be a golden period within the Kali Yuga. And this means that, as Kalindi Mataji said, that we are just going through a moment, this 50 years, 100 years, few hundred years, it's just like a moment in time, and we are very fortunate to be in that. So lastly, I was just thinking that yesterday I spent most of my time here in front, and I was just reflecting how much we are under His Prabhupada's protection, and what can we give, what can we do to reciprocate this, because every one of us has got this causeless mercy, because we cannot understand why we are sitting here, why we are in contact with these devotees, why we are in contact with this philosophy, and why us and why not somebody on the street. And then the only way is that as Srila Prabhupada became the willing instrument as a pure devotee in the hands of Krishna, as like all the acharyas have, as his disciples are also have sacrificed their life and lent themselves to be just a utensil in the hands of their guru. So it is our duty to try and be just an instrument in whatever way we do, but allow ourselves. We don't know what we can do. We don't know our capacity. We don't know what we can impact. But what we do know, we can have this faith that Prabhupada, if we take one step towards him, like Krishna does, Prabhupada will be unlimitedly grateful because we are helping his mission, and he would give that much more strength to us. And by doing that, he will somehow empower us to be able to help. So many times we hear devotees say that, and I have seen also that somebody who I would never have imagined having any capacity, but in getting somebody who is supposedly very intellectual or very powerful, rich, etc., and then they come because this simple person, so-called simple person, has convinced them. So what is that spark which Prabhupada saw in his early disciples when all of them were sitting here, the filthy, dirty, smelly, people who were just there, who had no inclination at all to just follow his, they had no understanding. They were just simply rebellious. And what Prabhupada saw in that, he will see in us. And when he sees in us, if we actually, to the extent that we really have that desire to help him, that's all he wants. Then when he does that, then we could be part of this causeless mercy unknowingly. And therefore, even the difficulties, tragedies and challenges that come in our life are certainly Krishna's arrangement, if you see it that way, that if we take that step, then we are willing to be a causeless instrument to allow us to be part of his causeless mercy and use us as his instruments. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada, and I'm eternally grateful to you for whatever you have done for us. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Krishna Chandra Prabhu.